and it's just a wonderful thing. And as the mayor had mentioned, all of the volunteers that were so active, Jack Kennedy and Rick and General Ducko, and I would especially like to thank Chris Biosh, who just went way above and beyond the call of duty in organizing this event. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not thank our active duty 5th Special Forces guys who are with us today. What an honor that is. They are the tip of the spear. They're the ones who we're going to call on to face the enemies of our country. And it's just so wonderful that they're here, and they will be carrying on the legacy of Command and Control Central and the legacy of Fred Zabitosky. Thank you, Ewing Township.
I'm going to claim executive privilege right now. In my short speech that I made, I forgot to mention one most important part of our community, and is that our Ewing Township Police Department and our EMS. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, it was, I was looking at the crowd here and just admiring on how many veterans that we have sitting out here. So I neglected to mention that, but I am very proud of you, of the service that you perform for Ewing Township. So thank you very much.
Hey, Chris.
Thank you, First Lieutenant Waskolich. That was great. Our next speaker is Captain Dave Christian, U.S. Army retired. He is one of the most decorated soldiers from Vietnam. He enlisted in the Army at age 17, and by age 18 was a second lieutenant, making him the youngest officer in the 20th and 21st centuries. We call that fast tracking. He was retired due to wounds sustained in combat at the age of 21. Captain Christian's award and decorations include the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, Bronze Star for Valor, 7 Purple Hearts. In Gratesville, that's 2 hands. 7 Purple Hearts. The Air Medal, 2 Republic of Vietnam Gallantry Crosses, Combat Infantryman Badge, Parachutist Badge, Special Forces Tab, and Ranger Tab. Captain Christian was elected to as the National Commander for the Legion of Valor in 1978 and the National Adjutant in 1990. He also holds a lifetime Board of Directors position for that same organization. Membership in the Legion of Valor is restricted to those who have been awarded the Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Navy Cross, or Air Force Crosses. He continues to serve today as an advocate for veterans issues. Please welcome Captain Christian.
I'll be quick, guys. It's hot out here. Just like the lieutenant who went before me, I'm just honored by people showing up on a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday, and you could be out playing in the fields also. But I just want to reflect for a second. I see a good friend out there, Jack Kennedy, and I'm a life member of the 19th, Chapter 19 Special Forces. I talked to all the young Special Forces operatives over here. I don't know what we should really call them, but they operate. I had a chance to talk to most people here in the crowd, including Your Honor, the Mayor, and everybody else. What I'd like to do, and I talked to Councilman David O. He came all the way from Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen, and that really is a hard thing to do, because I live in Washington's Crossing, and I got lost. But, people, my men would say to me, it's great if you're in the jungle, you're really good, sir. Take you out of the jungle and put you in the city, you get lost. So, and when you're in the service, many things is, everyone felt that Fred was from Trenton, New Jersey. Truthfully, I don't think half the world, including all my Special Forces operatives over here, know where Ewing is. And I stopped at the airport to get directions here. So I just drove around the long way. But what I'd like to share with you real quick is Fred's mission that President Nixon awarded him the Medal of Honor for. He was on a reconnaissance mission. He had a 9-man team. And those 9 men were compromised, because in recon you're not supposed to make contact. But it's hard to call time out when the enemy sees you and they open fire on you. So you break contact, you run, and you set up what's called a hasty ambush. That hasty ambush, you hope they run into you. And Fred did that on numerous occasions, leading his men, going from man to man, telling them they're going to make it. In the meantime, he called for an evac helicopter, and they kept moving back. Then they were pinned down. It seems like, you know, a traditional day for guys that are out there carrying weapons, carrying bullets, carrying your rucksack. Everybody would say you got a light pack, a light sack. I can tell you Fred didn't have a light rucksack. Those extra ammo, that extra rounds, wherever you're at, helps you stay alive. So he set up not 1, not 2, not 3, but he set up repetitive, hasty ambushes until you get near the helicopters. It's called the pickup zone. They have a number of names for it. But as they were waiting to get picked up, he also called in tactical air. When we first started in Special Forces, we didn't have a tactical air advisor. We didn't have a forward observer from artillery. We called in all our own artillery. We called in all our own TAC air. We would call a spot around. There was no such thing as GPS. We had a compass, a map, and if you were lost and you called the round the wrong way, you could be dead. So some people aren't in these stands today, that their commander may have called the round the wrong place. And that, unfortunately, happens in war. Friendly fire. When Fred saw the helicopters come in, the tactical air had to lift off. And as they were going towards the helicopters, Fred sat in the door. He was taking it upon himself to sit in the door and distract the enemy and fire at the enemy, because he could see their flashes, their muzzle flashes from the rifles. He could see their aggressiveness. He knew they weren't finished. And he kept on. And his chopper was hit. He was thrown from his chopper. He was knocked out. His chopper crash landed, exploded. Fred came to, and instead of watching and running to the other helicopter that was there to pick him up, he ran to the burning chopper to save his team. The fire was so intense. It's called a JP4 fuel. And JP4 fuel is the same as napalm, ladies and gentlemen. It gets on you and it burns until it burns out. And Fred chose to go into that barbecue, and he pulled out a pilot. Pulled a pilot out and saved his life. And he drug him across the field. So he was 10 feet away from the chopper that he was going to get on, and he passed out. And the chopper pilot had his assistant, the navigator, jump out and grab Fred and grab the other gentleman, the pilot. Fred's hands were burnt. His body was burnt. He went into those flames. He had taken shrapnel. He was thrown in that chopper in the back. Not a cushy seat. He was just thrown in. They didn't know if he was alive or dead. They didn't know if the pilot was alive or dead. Fred came back here through Japan, through the hospitals in Japan, through the burn ward of the 106 General Hospital in Camp Sama, Japan, and they gave him his first attention, his first medical attention. It's an extension of Brooke Army Hospital. I don't know if you've ever seen what a human being is like being burnt. I had 40% of my body napalm burnt. And I can tell you, it's one of the most horrible, horrible things in the world. And very few people come out. Mentally, physically, I don't know if I'm out. But I'm here with you folks to tell you about Fred. And when he walked across, and President Nixon stood in front of him, and he put the Medal of Honor around his neck. Today, they have the president stand behind the recipient. And I thought President Nixon was going to kiss him, because he did so much for his team. He tried so hard to save those men. And Fred returned. And when they announced in the newspapers and they announced on the television, where was Fred from, they said, Trenton, New Jersey. Everybody said Trenton, New Jersey. When I'm in the service, when I'm anywhere in the world, people say, where are you from? I have to say Philadelphia. They never heard of Washington Crossing. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this little sleepy knoll, this little sleepy town of Ewing, which I know you guys, and especially your mayor, feels is very, very active. And David O. from City of Philadelphia will challenge you on that. But this little sleepy knoll turned out one of the few, one of the mighty, one of the respected. For the people in Kentucky to send an entire Special Forces team up here for the military, that's a big thing, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that. For the motorcycle team here to come in and stand honor guard for us, that's a big thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I know many of you are related to veterans, but nobody here has had the opportunity today, because most of Fred's family and friends have passed,